Good evening, my fellow travelers on Spaceship Earth. It is I, and I am Guy. And I'm coming to you live from Applewood Station, where it's 27 degrees, 27 at night. And I'm not sure how to handle 27, and I don't like 27. I just want to say that for the record. I don't like 27 degrees. So I'm just saying for the record, I don't like 27. I'm also going to say for the record, really digging Acolyte. I like Acolyte a lot. That's a good Star Wars. You're pulling an all-nighter, MD. Don't do that, man. Don't do that, bro. Why are you pulling an all-nighter on us? I mean, you can pull an all-nighter, I guess. Nothing really illegal with that. Oh, yeah. I'm with you on that. Oh, yeah. Good evening, Brent. It is. Yes, MD. In fact, I will happily start. This is a good thing for me to do tonight. This gives me something to do that doesn't involve arguing with the Department of Higher Education. All right. Because this is great. I will happily help you, my friend. Let me switch to my drawing monitor. Oh, look, I'm in the green ring. Wait. Green ring. I'm going to sit up here and be in the... Oh, red ring. Green ring. Okay. Did I mention ADHD is going burr? Because you mentioned that, because I think I'll go there too while we're at it. All right. This is my storyboard. It has a few specific... Sure, why not? I mean, I was already working on it, so it sounds like a thing. I have not found the butt people. It is. It's Can. Can going brr. Can's out there trying not to get set fire to. That's Can's main job right now. All right, MD. So I first start, it depends on how you look at this, but I start often with this guy right here, which is my just scratch down an idea of what scenes I want. I have let's see if I can get this open here. Oh, I got to go up here on this monitor because I cannot see down there on the lower monitor. I have this thing that I often use as sort of a rule of thumb. It's not you don't want to ever at the start stage, you never want to like nail yourself down to something. But at this very beginning part, I usually have how to write section, how to write a story. I have a couple of resources I often use. Are you, MD, are you on the Discord, on our Discord server? So this was an artist who had done something, or had done a couple of comics that were American comics, but you don't have Discord. Okay, that's fine. You can screen cap the page or something. I don't know where I could find you, but wherever it is, I'll give you these resources if if we can find a way to get them to you. Anyway, he had said that he breaks his scenes into the following lengths. Like if you have less than a page, which is 6 panels or less than a page, or one page with like a ton of panels or whatever, then he's got these short, that's a micro scene. Short scenes are 1 to 2 pages, standard scenes are 3 to 5, long scenes are 6 to 10, and extended are 11 plus. And he says, break up really long scenes. Anytime a scene runs over about 5 pages, see if you can shorten it down or break it, because you don't want to do anything like that, which is fine. So then he sort of broke down kind of what he wanted to do with the story idea, right? Scene 1's a short scene with the main character fighting with his girlfriend, and then scene 2 is in, the main character working out, and there's this robbers arming up sort of thing. So in other words, he's broken down sort of the concepts. For me, I mean, this isn't even a very good thing, but I just take this page here and I've got scenes. And I usually break them right through the middle here because it's manga. And manga, you usually want to have a break at the 16 page mark. So since manga is typically 32 pages, you want to have it at the 16 page mark, give or take. So at the 16 page mark here, I'll put in a break between the two, and then kind of got 4 scenes in the first half and 4 scenes in the second half. And I'll add extra scenes in if I feel like I need them or not, but that's the way it goes. Then once I'm done here, then I'm going to move it to this guy. I need to change my page layout here. And actually what I should do is share my screen itself. And then that way I can do the same thing Can's doing. I apparently just kicked Can off of there. I'll kick him back on in a sec. So scripting is a thing. I'm sorry, Can, I kicked you off. I didn't mean to. I'll kick you back on here in a sec.
That's fine.
I didn't mean to. I thought we'd both be sharing screens, but my screen's all broken up because I haven't had you on here in a long time. So I made my screen different, and now I have to go fix it in OBS, but I will. But I would rather give MD some help here. There are 2 schools of thought, MD. There's uh, the sort of classic way of doing it, which is you write a script, then you break the script down into scenes, then you break the scenes, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And then there's the Stan Lee way. And I have been moving more and more towards Stan Lee's way of doing it, which is you just start throwing sort of rough scenes together and throwing pictures at stuff and then seeing where it goes. It's a much more organic way of doing it, but I do really like it better. So your mileage may vary. And so when I say this, be aware that we may have something completely different. So my script pretty much looks like this, just 7 scenes. He's got 7 scenes. I've got 8, but I'm also a few pages longer than his is. So I got 7 scenes. I know roughly where they're going here. I've got this guy here, and this is the second book there. So these are the 2 different comics. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at these and kind of go, how many scenes or how many pages do I want to devote to all of these to make up the thing? And that's where the color codes come in here. You see how it gets brighter and then darker and then brighter and then darker? These are what yeah, maybe, or you just need to kind of work through it. Stan Lee was really big on that, and it worked. I mean, really worked. Like most of Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four and all of those guys are just done the Stan Lee way, which is he just starts throwing out pages, and then a writer goes in and puts the dialogue in and makes it work, and it works just fine. And the thing about manga is that manga has Ida in it. And Ida is sort of the concept of pausing and holding for a bit. And so I don't have a working pen, do I? Damn it. I don't. I screwed it up. It's my fault. I did this. So anyway, here on this page, you can kind of see that we've got these light areas and the dark areas. This is what we call a peak. So the story peaks here and then fades down and then peaks again right here at the splash. And then it fades to the lowest point in the story. So then it peaks back up right here. So if you were to say this is a Sailor Moon story, you have it opens with Sailor Moon and the Sailor Senshi already transformed and fighting a Yoma, right? They beat the Yoma right here. All is good. The Yoma dies, whatever. Then we go back to Usagi's house where they're all talking about how that Yoma was pretty rough, but, we think we've got them again and everything like that. And Luna says, oh, but, be careful. The Yoma have been ramping up. And so they've been getting worse and worse with each iteration. Then we go, oh, look, it's another Yoma. Well, that's all right. We're ready to do this. We go through our transformation to fight the Yoma. Cut right there for a mid-story splash. We come back. We're ready to fight the Yoma, but then the Yoma kicks Sailor Moon's butt right here. And Sailor Moon, that's all right. We'll finish this up and then you can go on about your business. So Sailor Moon's gotten her butt beat here. And then she gets some special thing from Luna that Luna had been talking about back here, that special thing you're going to need to use. And then she does and beats the Yoma. And that's the end of the story. There was a mangaka in Hawaii who was doing things online, and I was capturing some of the stuff he was saying. And he said that there are 3 peaks and 1 valley in every manga. So this is peak 1, peak 2, and peak 3 with 1 valley. And the story is always that way. So what you do is you just set it up. So once you're in sort of this mode where you're scrapping around kind of doing things, then you kind of figure out which one's your peak, which one's your valley. So right here is my peak 1. My peak 2 is between 4 and 5. and peak 3 is at the end of 8, and my valley is going to be right here at 7 and 6 and 7, right in between those two. So wherever I come out of this scene, it's got to be super sad or super depressed or super down. This is the everything's screwed up, we're all going to die sort of scene right here or whatever. And then here's where in this case we have 3 sort of spaz points, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so that's what I'm putting out here. So I don't know where to put these where you can find them, my friend. I would happily let you have these and you can do them as you please, or screen cap the screen and just do your own, or whatever needs to happen. Try to zoom in a little, maybe give you a little bit more room over here so you can catch all of it. Maybe read some of it. I don't know if I can make this big and bigonate this. Maybe. And then hang on. Before you snap a picture, let me turn off the chat overlay. There we go. Snap a picture now if you want to snap a picture of this graphic. And then I will put it all back together again. Either way, you can always go back and replay this. I'll give you a few minutes to snap this graphic. Also, while we're at it, you can snap. Let me turn this. Well, there's nothing I can do to turn it off because I've already molded them down, but you can make up something similar. So you can make up something similar to that. You can always come back and watch it later. And then here is the other artists, and he was talking about breaking stuff down. So you can come back and snap this later too, if you want. All right, there we go. That was weird. Why'd you put it there? That's a strange place to put it. There we go. All right. Now I will stop sharing and let Ken have control whenever he gets back here. And meantime, I will try to fix my screen so that we have a Ken version of these. All right, main Ken, and then we'll go over here. And we'll say oh. Eh. Hmm? There we go. Okay, you can have control of the board again. You'll have to reshare. I'm sorry. Like I said, I had no idea it would kick you out. I thought it would just put yours share down at the bottom of the screen.
Apparently it didn't. Can you hear me?
I can barely hear you.
What about now?
Weirdly, still barely hear you. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. Hang on. I don't know. What do you think, Brent? Do we sound equal? We'll have to wait for Brent to get that message across. Can talk.
I am here. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Oh, well.
What about now? Can you hear me?
Oh, wow. Much better.
Okay. Apparently, it was pulling audio from my computer. Don't
Yeah,
know.
that's a thing.
So yeah, after the third or fourth time battling COVID and losing almost all of my hair again,
I know.
I
You
thought,
just went all
okay,
bald.
it's like I'm done.
You look actually pretty cool, so it could be far worse. I
Yeah.
think if I went all bald, it would look stupid. But you look pretty cool, so I'm not going to argue with it. All right, I am fixing problems.
So they've evacuated Lyons,
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
and that fire's at 450 acres.
Oh gosh, how are we ever going to survive all of this crap? I swear.
And it's 8 miles from the uh, mountain fire.
8 miles, huh?
Yeah, and because they're so close, the two fires are going to share aircraft for battling the blazes.
It's just so weird. That's not so weird. I don't remember having this many fires ever.
And it's just starting.
Yeah, the season's just starting. There,
Yeah.
I have made some specific monitors for when you and I are together, so that now we can do both of these when we're together. I'm not drawing anything tonight because I haven't found my charger for my stylus, and my stylus died. So I'm going to have to go find my charger, which is what I'll probably be doing this evening while you're here. Since you're here and people can watch you draw, I can stay on here and chat with you
There we go.
for my very last day of being 51. Naturally, I have zero control over my drawing tablet today, which doesn't surprise me.
Tomorrow, Guy turns 47.
Exactly. Clock starts going backwards. Just saying. Like a time lord. Thanks, Brent. And you're right. Got about an hour and a half left in my 51st year on this planet. Wasn't an awesome year. but it's now awesome. Although I have to admit, I'm having an argument with the people on the Department of Higher Education, which aggravates me.
Why?
Because I wrote to them and I said, "Hey, you guys won't let me use my degree to get a teacher's certificate, but when I go back to college and ask for financial aid, you're saying I have a degree, so you won't give me any financial aid either." And I'm like, "So pick one. Do I have a degree or do I not?" And they're doing the situation is from moment to moment. And I'm like, "No, it's not. The Department of Education said I don't have a degree. And then the Department of Education said that I still had a degree. So this is both coming from the Department of Education. Both of these decisions are coming from the Department of Education." And they're like, "Well, we're not responsible for it." And I'm like, that's not true. MSU just said they will get their accreditation taken away by you if they lie. So they're not lying on the FAFSA. They have to legally say that I have a degree. And I'm saying I want a waiver that says that this wasn't my fault and I can redo this. And they're like, but. And I'm like, please don't, but. Why are you fighting this? You know, it's like all I want is for you guys to just change my status. Because what's happened now, of course, is they've decided I have a degree and therefore I can get no financial aid at all. And so they want $5,500 before August 19th, or I cannot continue with college. And I'm like,
The fuck?
and I'm sitting here going, this is not reasonable, guys. You're going to kick me out of college because I don't have $5,500. And I'm like, I was about to go do this, and instead I'm going to end up owing 10 grand because I've already taken out 10 grand in loans, or 5 grand in loans. It's not really, it's 8 grand, but still 3 grand in loans. And you're going to chase me forever for that 5,500 until I pay that off. And quitting college now will mean that I don't get a degree. So I'll still be in the same position, but I'll owe an extra 8 grand. I just wasted 8 grand. So I'm in the middle of an argument with them.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, neither do I. It's like this long argument.
By the way, do you have an air fryer?
No, I have a Fry Daddy. I've been thinking about getting an air fryer though. Why? What you got?
I just made a very, actually, it's a very tasty snack that is because of the air fryer. remarkably fast and simple to make.
Okay. I'm all ears, or all
Carrot
stomach, as the case may be.
carrot fries.
Hmm. I see. So putting just carrots, chopping up the carrots and throwing them in the air fryer.
Like turning them into sticks and putting them in
Hmm.
the air fryer. And then before I put them in, I seasoned them with like everything bagel seasoning. So it had a chance to toast all the sesame seeds.
Right.
And it was remarkably good.
That's kind of cool.
And the other nice thing was because I air fried them, it didn't add any calories to it. And the seasoning doesn't add any calories.
Which makes them really nice and now does it make them fluffy?
But it made them soft. They weren't crisp,
I like soft, not crisp. So that
but they
actually
were
is a plus.
but they were very caramelized, and it actually gave them a slightly different taste.
Like a sweet
That
taste.
a sweet like think sweet potato fries without the crunch. And I drizzled a little bit of soy sauce on them because it went with the sesame seeds, and that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm full, and yet I don't feel, you know, I don't feel like I've violated my um, calorie intake for the day. You know.
Right.
So a single carrot stick is 25 calories, and I had 3 carrot sticks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So 75 calories, that's nothing. Hey, Guy, can I get your opinion on these 2 pages?
I like that picture, if that helps any.
So it goes from that panel to that.
Back to the first one. I'm not sure I read what's going on in that panel on the bottom right.
So she's charging in and whammo.
You need a piece, you need something in between. Because right now what it looks like is it looks like she's charging and then he hits her. That's the way that feels. Because I'm confused between the two, and I actually kind of know what's going on in the scene. Or split that panel there on the bottom right into two.
How would I split it into 2?
I don't know. But I mean, like, you've got slams his foot, he goes, ow. And then that other scene there, we're not seeing a lot of motion out of her directly, even though you've got lines. The lines kind of look like you just look like a background shading. So maybe we need lines on her going toward him, not toward him, but away from him, off of her. If that makes any sense.
So maybe. Did I just.
And then the layer bled on you. It bled purple blood.
So maybe something like that.
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm having a hard time reading it. That's all. It's a great picture. I love it. I'm having a hard time reading it. You know what it may be? It might be on page 2. On the second page. Maybe that needs to be a wide instead of a close up there. Maybe make it wide with her hitting him and him flying. Save that picture though. Because I love the piece.
well, what I'm thinking is do something like that. Maybe like that.
Yeah, see, the problem we've got is you're, first of all, you're crossing the midline, which is part of the reason why it's confusing.
Am I though? It's still from behind her.
Oh, that makes it even more confusing. Okay. So, yeah, because I'm actually reading it the other direction. Like she's punching him and we're behind his back. So I'm clearly not reading any of this correctly.
Yeah, it's following her from behind as she's charging in and smacking him and sending him flying.
Where's him?
Him.
Because we're behind her and he's in
Yeah.
front of her. Then the next page.
We're still behind her.
Oh, she's going past him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's not reading. I see what's going on now. Did you want him to actually fly?
I want to make the goblin fly.
Right. I still feel like your best bet's going to be.
Actually, you know what? That helped quite a bit. Because now it looks like she's charging past him.
Yeah, but you're on 2 different pages. Is this a spread? Like, is
Should
this left and right page?
Is there a quick way to check that?
I mean, maybe. Yeah, that looks like it's left and right page. That might be okay.
Because the perspective is still the same.
Yeah, that's
Like,
part of the reason why it's hard to read.
like I haven't flipped 180. The only thing that's flipped that much is the goblin as she flies past him.
Right.
Oh, well, I'll finish roughing out this page and then we'll kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
I think it's time
It's
I
time what?
start making. Oh, I'm looking at the fires, and one of the things I was thinking about well before the fires were a thing was having a 3-day pack of supplies that I just keep in the car
Mm-hmm.
in case, hey, we need to evacuate. Just
Right.
particularly after the Marshall fire, I've really been sensitive to that.
Yeah. The Marshall Fire was brutal. I mean, I've never been given an evacuation warning before. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Well, and what's interesting about that fire is we know the Allstate insurance agent that really loves selling insurance to the people in the Marshall area
Right.
that he ultimately screwed over because of how he was selling the insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was selling it as, well, you don't need 100% coverage because, even if your house were to catch fire, some part of the structure will still exist. So you only need to really cover about 80% of the building.
Right.
And yeah, yeah, when 100% of the building, even the concrete, is gone after the fire because it's so hot.
Well, insurance companies are ticking me off all the time anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been moving from we'll be here to save you whenever things go bad to we're going to find creative ways to not save you when things go bad, but you still have to pay us every day. And that really bothers me. Like
Well,
automobile insurance is the same way, but I mean, the worst part is that they built in a system right off the bat, deductibles, that effectively says you have to pay $55,000 trillion first. Well, what are you here for?
yeah.
If your whole point was to prevent me from having to suddenly be burdened with $10,000 worth of repairs, and then you have a $10,000 deductible, what are you here for? Why am I paying you?
Yeah, what good are you?
Yeah, it just drives me crazy. Uh, Department of Higher Education says if you received a degree and the school was accredited when you were there, then the degree is valid. Now, whether or not employers or other institutions will see degrees from the school as a negative or accept transfer credits is a different story. And I wrote back and I said, I understand that as well. But as the class action lawsuit against Westwood states, they misled us by telling us our credits would be transferable. They lied to us. Again, I understand this isn't the fault of the US government or the state. However, I don't feel it was on me either. I'm not asking for the state to give me money. I'm asking for them to simply change my status so that I can reuse the resources in order to fix this problem. I won't even be using all of those resources because MSU has already fast-tracked me and I don't have to repeat 3 years of useless college classes. All I'm saying is that the Department of Education does not recognize my degree when I want to take the praxis, but they do recognize it when I want student aid, which means I will be paying the price either way on this, and it's simply because the system is too rigid. I don't know why I'm having this fight with them.
Because they don't want to give you the money.
Well, and that's the thing. I already have the money. I just can't get to it. The US government reset my Pell Grant. When they forgave my loans, they even sent me a letter that says your Pell Grant has been reset. So it's already been given to me. I just can't use it because you can't use a Pell Grant on a second degree. That's part of this whole thing. They've already sent me the money. They've accepted that I'm going to get the money again. But you can't use a Pell Grant when you're taking your degree again. And that's all I want. All I want them to do is switch my status to started a degree but didn't finish it. And that will be enough that MSU won't get in trouble. The problem we've got with MSU is if they say that I don't have a degree and the Department of Education shows that I do, then they're fraudulent and they'll get their accreditation taken away. So they can't say that. They legally cannot say that.
Yeah.
And I don't blame MSU at all. And the first response to this was, you need to talk to your institution. And I said, I already did talk to my institution. And now they're saying to come to you. And you're saying go back to them. And I'm not playing that game. So. It's just frustrating.
Hmm.
That's a good question. How do we feel about Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom?
I don't know enough about Doctor Doom to answer. Because is Doctor Doom a clone of Tony Stark? Like, I know nothing about the character.
Right? I do know that Chris Evans played the Human Torch before he played Captain America. So we've already had sort of other actors playing other characters. The thing is that nobody remembers Chris Evans playing the Human Torch. So there's that.
Oh, and Human Torch isn't a part of the MCU, or at least he wasn't at the time.
Right.
This
I
would
agree.
literally
I'm
be
agreeing with you, Jerry. Definitely.
like, this is literally two characters at
Yeah.
uh, within the MCU. Now you can make it that Doctor Doom is a clone of Tony Stark, and it's the bent version of Tony Stark. That would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah. Right. Pedro Pascal will be playing Reed Richards. That's a stretch. Oh, I couldn't help myself. I'm so sorry. Oh, come on. That was a good one.
Yes,
Ben Affleck as Daredevil. Right, right, right. And Batman. Although that's, I think, no, Daredevil and Batman. The art is Daredevil DC?
I thought he was Marvel.
Oh. Apparently, Doom was dying and he transferred his brain to Stark. Ah. That might be the entrance that they're after. Daredevil's Marvel. Okay. So that puts Affleck as a Marvel character and a DC character. So that's okay. Charlie Cox is the MC. You know, I still think that that's probably one of the things that I was saddest about. We're talking about Echo, is that they didn't put Daredevil in with Echo, which that was a great coupling. I thought that was an awesome couple. Yeah, that's fair. Thank you. Yeah, no spoilers on this podcast.
Well, we aren't really spoiling anything. We're kind of
Right. But yeah, I mean, I feel like still not putting Daredevil with Echo was a mistake. I like that coupling. Q is the best TNG character. I'm not. I'm going to sit here and say since All Good Things aired in 1993, if people have not seen it by now, I mean, just saying. So I went up to a buddy's house and they were watching Voyager. And, you know, these are fellow geeky buddies, so it was okay. But yeah, I went in there and sat down and I was like, oh, yeah, they're going to go back to 1996 here pretty soon. And he's like, how do you know? I'm like, well, and Sarah Silverman's in this episode. This is where I got my crush on Sarah Silverman. And then the ship comes in. This ship shows up through a time warp and everything like that. And I was like, it's Captain Braxton. And you know, Janeway goes, who am I speaking with? You know, this is Catherine Janeway of the Starship Voyager. And he goes, this is Captain Braxton. Like everybody looks at me and I'm like, what? You've got a Trekkie here. I'm like, you, I don't know. Guess it depends on the parents. I'd you know accost my child with Doctor Doom. I think that'd be funny. But you're right. Not if my kid was in a children's hospital. I'd just do that today and just send that in to their room right over there because, accosting the child with Doctor Doom is entertaining in my book, apparently. That said, I'm not trying to disagree with you there, GZ. I was just like, that'd be funny. Right? Just saying. Yeah, agreed. I didn't know that Bruce McGill died. Did Bruce McGill die? I mean, just saying, I don't think Bruce McGill died. Oh, good. You're starting to worry me. I think it's actually particularly funny when you talk about, like, especially Captain Braxton, because Captain Braxton, we go back in time and then Captain Braxton spends like 30 years being an old man, and him as old man doesn't look anything like he does now, which is particularly humorous. You know, hey Sarge. Sarge, who's furthest from the fires that are in the north part of the state. Which means you've got your arm back.
Huh?
Yeah, Sarge had his arm in a cast. Join your chat. You mentioned that you had an adopted cat that and had to go through a ton of background checks to get him. If you mean kids and you're talking about, you might be talking about um, Pepper. And Pepper was going through all of those. Oh, yeah. Where Q did the Q thing with Q, and then Q came to talk to Q and try to talk Q out of doing the things that Q was doing. Yeah, I love that episode too. Oh, you've got two different episodes there. Yeah, because you got Doctor D Doctor, and you've got um, so Doctor D Doctor is the EMH one, and Measure of a Man is the Data one. I don't know what happened there. My brain just completely went offline for a second. Yeah, so
Yeah, it happens occasionally when you get older.
right. It's that I think is one of those things that if I ever wanted a day-to-day analysis of how my brain is going, it's whether I can instantly recall episodes of Star Trek or not, and how fast the recall is. Between those two, that's hard because probably equal. I might go slightly more Picard than Janeway, but only barely. Yeah, Sarge, you're also one of those where you could probably identify how far along you are in your old age by how many episodes of Star Trek you can pull up readily. Especially old series. I feel like it's about time for me to rewatch some old series. The original series. Those old scientists. I feel like it's about time for that. Certainly would be a good way to relax a little. Step it down a little with some good old Captain Kirk. Yeah, I'm pretty Team Kirk too. Right? I don't have to remember. I just know that all of my life I've had the encyclopedic knowledge of episodes. That's true. Yeah, I'm with you, Jer. I think that's true. I feel like I would go there too. Given, and I have to say, there's something comforting about both Voyager and Enterprise in that it's sort of this unknown expanse that's wonderfully open. A trivial mind. That's mine. My mind is definitely a trivial mind. You're losing power, aren't you, Sarge? Sarge is losing power. He's just that I ha. It's like he wants to sneeze. I ha. Ah, chew. Yeah. I like how it's just trimmed him in the same spot on both of those posts, which is just entertainment. It's all good, my friend. I used to have to get up early tomorrow, but then they dismissed my juror number. Yeah, baby. Which means I get to sleep in tomorrow and I get donuts. I'm just saying.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, you know, right? It just hit the send key at the exact same spot, though, Sarge. That's the thing. That's all right. It's good to have you for the little bit of time that you were here, my friend. I'm glad. I'm always glad to see you. I'm about to start like a 10 day straight run of classes because all of the teachers in my school are either returning back to school or uh, they're on vacation. So all of us that are still in school, still teaching, are going to be like triple timing. It's like, so I'm enjoying my tomorrow where I wake up because it's the last one I get for a while.
Whoa! The Alexander Mountain Fire, which was mapped at 900 acres at 9 a.m. Tuesday morning, has grown to more than 5,000 acres as of Tuesday evening.
That's a five-fold increase. Nathan Fillion, Mal, and I still follow Nathan. He still does every so often. He'll make a Mal reference. I feel like Firefly was a shiny show. Just
Shining.
saying. I swear on my pretty floor bonnet that it was a pretty good show. It's shiny. I need to show my kid Firefly because I have all of Firefly on DVD and I just hooked up the DVD player. I really need to show my kid Firefly. And it's not like that's a long commitment, sadly. Oh, well, Sarge, you just made yourself into Santa Claus right there. You better be good because Sarge is going to be here. So be good for goodness sake. Oh, man. Good night, Sarge. I'm glad you'll be up here tomorrow. I intend to take it easy tomorrow. I even managed to take the day off, and then the state decided to give me the day on. So then I managed to take the day off again. And the state decided to dismiss me, which was nice. Oh man, there is something lovely about Firefly. Every time I write my comic, I try to watch a little bit of Firefly just so I can get back into that cadence, that writing cadence, because that's a beautiful writing cadence. And typically speaking, that's what I like to do between my two main characters, is that same cadence that we got with Mal. So, uh-oh. Dun 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 dun. Ding.
What?
Sarge.
Oh,
I'm just responding to Sarge. We are making a lot of references today. We are all over the place today, aren't we? One of the best things the MCU ever did was when they did the She-Hulk Attorney at Law, when they did the opening to that matched exactly 1-to-1 to the 70s Hulk.
yeah.
That was beautiful. Good night, Sarge. Enjoy your maps. Just saying. Sarge is having some real problems, right?
I think I'm gonna head to bed myself. I've been up since like early this morning and I'm starting to feel it.
Yeah, without my stylus, I'm kind of stymied. I can't go anywhere either. So I probably will bow out at some point here pretty soon too. I was gonna wait to see um if Brad was gonna show up today, but I'm thinking we're all over the map. We are all over the map. I'm thinking that he's not, and so I'm starting to think that maybe it's about time for us to step down for this, and that'll be okay.
Yeah, we still got what, an hour and a half in? That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
that's not bad. Even if mostly what I did was reply to the Department of Higher Education, which is trying to say it's not our fault. And I'm like, I'm not saying it's your fault. I just want to have this fixed, please. I'm not blaming anybody. I just want to have it fixed. Oh well. Good night, Sarge.
Yeah, if anything, it's Westwood's fault.
It's totally Westwood's fault. And I acknowledge and understand that the Colorado Department of Education has no obligation to fulfill the things that Westwood did wrong. And I get that. However, the only reason that we're here is because of a status thing where all they need to do is just flip a switch. And they just
Yeah.
can't flip the switch because it doesn't fit in a box. And I get that. However, if they would just flip the switch, I'd be able to go back to college and not have to incur 70 or $80,000 in loans because everybody thinks that I'm on my second degree. You know.
Well, and it's a switch there. He said they'd flip.
Yeah, well, the federal government threw the switch, but the local government isn't, and that's why I'm fighting with Colorado's Department of Higher Education. The problem is the responses that they're giving me implies heavily that she doesn't they whoever they are don't quite understand what I'm talking about because the responses seem tone deaf. You know what I mean? Like I'm sitting here going, "Hey, I've got this problem," and their response is, "Fill out, form 3." Well, I already formed that. I filled that out, but that doesn't have anything to do with this. Well, then you need to fill this out. That doesn't have anything to do with this. You know what I mean? Like every time they respond, I feel like they're not responding. Like this last one, where she's like, "Well, if you went into accredited university, then your degree is valid." And I'm like, "Thank you. That's not the problem." You know what I mean? Like the Colorado
Yeah.
Department of Education, because she was saying it's not anything. Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, Jerry. So you've been gone for a while. um, at the beginning of this last year, I went on ahead and went back to school to become a cultural anthropologist and fix a problem. And my problem is that I went to Westwood College, and Westwood was one of those 4-pay colleges. And turns out that they weren't on the level, and they did all kinds of stupid stuff and ended up getting their butts fired. Essentially, they lost their accreditation, they lost everything that was going on, and so I found that out by going to try to get my teacher's license. And the Colorado Department of Education said, we don't recognize Westwood's degree because they weren't accredited. And I said, well, how am I supposed to get a teacher's license? And they're like, you'll have to go get another bachelor's degree because you can't have a teacher's license without a bachelor's degree. And so I was mad about that for a long time and got very angry about it and cranky and stuff like that. And then finally I decided I could die mad or fix it. So I went to MSU, and MSU was like, we'll move 90 credits over so you don't have to retake English 101. And you can just have 3 semesters and you'll be out. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. But then halfway through the first semester, they switched my FAFSA to has a previous degree, which immediately nullified my Pell Grant, wiped out all federal and state assistance, and took away a scholarship that I had, which was finish what you started, for people who were finishing their degree, later on in life. And I had those things. It paid for everything but like $400. So I was paying like $400 a semester, and it paid for it all. And then all of a sudden they revoked it, and now I owe $5,500. So I'm writing to them saying, hey, look, change my status. Just change it to started his degree but didn't finish it. And they're like, we don't have that, so no. And I'm like, and that's what's happening is I'm having this discussion, and they're like, if your school was accredited at the time you were there, which it was, then they said, but then your degree is valid. And I'm like, yeah, but no one accepts it. No one. And they're like, that's not our
Even
problem.
you guys.
Yeah. And that was what I was saying is even you guys, literally by not letting me take the praxis and get a teacher's license, the Colorado Department of Education is saying that they do not recognize that degree. Yeah, it's a Schrodinger's degree. But the problem is it's a Schrodinger's degree that goes negative no matter which way you go. If you want to get a job with it, I can't use it. But if I want to use not having a degree for financial aid, oh no, then I've got a degree. And it's like, no, that's not. I mean, I don't want to say that's not fair, because then somebody's going to reply back and go, life isn't fair. And all I want somebody to do is just write a special dispensation for me. Say that it's okay for MSU to say I don't have a degree. That's all I need them to do. It is one little switch on my FAFSA form. But if MSU says that I don't have a degree, then the US government is going to audit that and remove MSU's accreditation for fraud. So they can't risk it. They can't do it. They're not allowed to do it. So part of the problem is that the MSU it can't do anything. And they're saying, and so the Department of Education saying, not our problem, talk to MSU. And MSU is like, we can't do anything because the Department of Education's locked us down. Department of Education says, not our problem. You didn't go to a college that we recognize. And then they turn around and say, not our problem. You have a degree, so we don't have to give you. And I'm like, this is your problem. So I already fired off a letter to the governor. I'm like,
well, I'm going to head out, so I'll talk to you later.
Good night.
See ya.
I do love your bald head, man. It looks awesome. Just saying.
Thank you.
Good night.
See ya.
Waiting for him to disappear. Whoa, I'm huge. I want to be less huge. There we go. Yeah, clean can. Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Yeah, I mean, um, see, that's the thing. They were accredited when I was there, but then they lost their accreditation for fraud. They were fraudulent. And that's why the Department of Education doesn't recognize them, is because they didn't have an accreditation when I was there, or they didn't have an accreditation, and so the Colorado Department of Education has nullified the whole thing, and that therein lies the rub, so to speak, which really boils down to CDE has decided that they just nullified everything from every Westwood student ever, whereas the Department of Higher Education has said that as long as it had accreditation, you're okay. However, it's not the Department of Higher Education that sets me up for a praxis test. So I'm not allowed to take the praxis test because I need to go back and get a degree again. And of course, the Department of Higher Education is saying, this isn't our problem. And I'm like, you're both the state of Colorado. Right. Well, that's part of the problem. Most people, and this, by the way, includes CU Boulder, I might add. I went and applied to CU Boulder for a master's degree, and they said, no, you don't have a degree. We don't recognize Westwood. So it's not just the Colorado Department of Education. The Colorado Department of Education, yeah, except that I'm not going to be spending it on the government. I'm going to be spending it at a bank because because all of the loans are now unsecured. If you're not a first-time student, all of your loans are unsecured, which means that all I'm doing is just getting Sally Mae out there where they're going to charge me, 450% interest compounded secondly because they can, because they're unsecured. And so part of this is I'm not going to get they're not getting any of my money. And that's part of why I'm so frustrated. I'm like, you guys aren't getting my money. Because even if you were to say they don't want to pay the Pell Grant, the government reset my Pell Grant. So the government has already decided in its infinite wisdom to give me that money again. I just can't use a Pell Grant if I'm on my second undergrad degree. So that one sounds very much like a left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. And all I've got to do is convince these people to please talk to each other. That's the problem. That's why I'm so frustrated by this whole situation, is because they just need to talk to each other. You know what I mean? Like, you got to talk to you. Like, you just need to, it's like one of those things. I don't know. I can go to the feds and talk to them, but I think at the CDE level, there's nothing I can do, or at the Colorado level, there's nothing I can do except appeal to Jared Polis, which I already did. And his office went, okay, and didn't do anything about it. So, well, that I'm aware of, they haven't replied. So I'm assuming that nothing's happening over there. It was a couple of weeks ago. So, I'm just guessing that that's kind of where we are. And so the problem that we've got is that classes start on the 19th. And if I don't pay my fees from last semester, which are now phenomenal, then I'm not going to be able to start classes on the 19th, and I won't be able to finish this. And I am 2 semesters from a degree. And so all I got to do is figure out. And so it really boils down to, I'll still do this and all will still happen. I'm just going to end up racking up 30 or 40 grand in student loans. And that's what's going to happen. Right? I actually really like Polis. He's a Trekkie. I'm all on board with anybody who's a Trekkie. I like my leadership to be a Trekkie. So Danny Ocean? No. Who's Danny Ocean? Yeah. Yeah, Polis is a Trekkie. I'll go with anybody who's a Trekkie. Oh. Yeah, nah, I don't know. I've seen Ocean's 11 a million years ago. So long ago. And it's not my genre. So it didn't stick. Sometimes I mean, like, I can tell you things about Aliens, I can tell you things about Firefly. All of those are in my genre. But Ocean's 11 really wasn't. You'll be on my crew? You back me up? There you go. Make it a heist. I just really want to fix this problem. You know what I mean? Like, I can just rack up a ton of money in student loans and just let it go. And I mean, because, like, really, honestly, it's another system I can exploit, which is that, let's be realistic, I will probably die before I pay those off. Because I'm in my 50s now, and you're talking about like 3 years or 30 years and stuff like that. And I don't know. That makes four of us, man. But I mean, so that's my, but that also seems like we're kind of, and not only that, it's just going to end up making it complicated for the rest of my life. Like, I won't be able to own a house. I won't be able to own a car because my debt to income ratio will always be too low. So I'm just going to end up being ridiculously poor for the rest of my life. And I'm like, I don't want that. You know, I am so tired of being ridiculously poor because of this dumb mistake with Westwood. So anyway, that's where we are. There we go. Yeah, well, it's just that really it's not a matter of poor. I'd be fine if I was just stable. But, like, for example, I work as a driving school teacher, still do. And I'm making good money right now because it's summertime. And I'm working 38 to 45 hours a week. Great. I'm at full time pay. All my bills are paid. Everything is covered. I have a little extra money every so often to buy spaceships. Living high on the hog right now, as far as I'm concerned. This is a perfectly reasonable life. Um, if something breaks in my house, I can fix it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty good here. It's like I've got the small amount of financial income to fix stuff that breaks in my house. But that ends in 3 weeks, and we go back to me working Saturdays and Sundays sometimes. You know what I mean? And because, of course, it goes back to the schedule of being in the school cycle. And so I'll be back to making like, you know, $700 or $800 a month. And I won't be able to make all my bills, and I won't be able to have extra money and all that stuff because that's just the nature of my job. And with school, I can't really take two jobs because one of my jobs is being a dad, and now I'm a single dad. So that's even more complicated. And so, it's, I'm just tired of being stressed out. It's not really the poor, it's the stressed out. I'm constantly in this ongoing daily stress, and my body is just not taking it well. There's only so many years of this repetitive stress that you can take. So, and so what I wanted to do here was go back to school, get my doctorate, get somewhere. Oh, yeah, I'm a single dad now. So there's that. But she left me the house. So there's that. Or at least we hope. Hopefully she'll leave me the house. Hope she does. I just put air conditioning in here. It's all right. That's not something I've been putting out on stream very much. Mostly because in the beginning it hurt too bad. But it's been a year now. And so even though you left recently, that happened prior to you leaving, I think. It's just that I didn't talk about it online. I wasn't talking about it at all. Brent knew because Brent and I were talking DM on Facebook. But and so Brent and I were using the code word Dallas for it because it was the big D in your life. The not good D. So yeah, but that's where we are, and it's fine. I'm okay with it now. It's been touch and go. Yeah. So yeah, so Dallas was the code word for it. Yep. So anyway, that's fine. That's fine. I think I'm on the verge of a new path in life. And it's great, provided we don't screw it up. So yes, 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 yes. We can always hang out and talk Firefly. It's always a good thing. So it is a thing. Yeah, and I just I don't know where I was going with that one. There was a thought, but it just totally abandoned me. Anyway, I am approaching my 52nd year of life in a little over an hour, or starting the 52nd year of my life. So we'll have to figure out how this all pans out. So we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Anyway, right? Except that I really don't think that. Why, thank you. I mean, though it's still an hour and a half away. I get donuts on my birthday. I'm just saying that's the rule. Not allowed to have donuts any other time, but I am allowed to have donuts on my birthday. That's the rule. So, anyway. Right? Donuts. Hey, Merrick. Good to see you, my friend. And so far, so good. My stylist died. So, and in the process of doing some modifications in my office, I apparently have buried my other stylus, which is on the charger over there somewhere. So I'm going to have to dig through it tonight or tomorrow and figure out where my other stylus went. But because of that, I don't have anything to draw because I can't draw on my monitor because my stylus is dead, which is aggravating. So there's that. Yeah. So anyway, I have a lamp that I'm making for NDK, and I've got these like right, absolutely. I've got these pieces of plastic, and so my buddy Kevin was saying, "Can you get a light bulb that'll shine through this piece of plastic?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I think we will be able to get a light bulb that does it." And then he was like, "Are you sure? Because that's pretty thick plastic." And I went, needless to say, I think I found a light bulb that shine through this piece of plastic. This is a pretty serious light bulb. And this light bulb has attitude. This light bulb's attitude has attitude. I was like, yeah, I think that'll work. He was like, are you sure that'll work? I'm sure that'll work. I was more entertained than I needed to be by that light. I think the best part is how it just wipe the whole screen. I'm even still seeing black spots. And I knew better than to look straight at it. Oh man, that was good. Oh, that was entertainment. I'm just saying that was definitely entertainment. All I got to do now is make a hole in the roof of the lantern so that I can get this light into it, because otherwise it's going to hang all the way down into the main chamber, and it needs to not be that far down. So anyway. Yeah, I've got a 1 inch drill bit, and I'll just drill into the roof. I built the roof last year, and the roof structure was overbuilt anyway, so this will be fine. I'll just be able to go in there and just cut through that whole section, and it'll be fine. Shouldn't be an issue at all. And I'm trying to figure out whether I should pull one half of the roof off or not. I have to figure that out. I don't really want to, but I might have to. I might not have much of a choice, because the problem is that it needs to be remote controlled. So we have a light bulb up here, at our normal, this is a 150 watt light bulb, Smelcrum, I guess. And then this section right here is a remote, because the remote needs to, I see the remote needs to be turned off. The remote resets apparently when you unplug it. I'm just saying. Anyway, the remote, my eyes. The remote controls this because the lantern is 15 feet tall. So the lantern is way up too high for you to reach. And so in order for it to be turned on and turned off, I have to use this remote controller to turn it on and turn it off. So anyway, that's my humor for the day. Was he was like, "Are you sure that people will be able to see that light?" And I'm like, I'm also going to say, just for the record, if that wasn't an LED, it would melt the entire assembly. That thing's so bright. It would melt the light and all the assembly in it. But since it's an LED, it's not going to actually run that hot. It'll run hot. It just won't run that hot. Not hot enough to melt the damn light, So, all right, we're passing 11 o'clock. I think I'm about to go to bed pretty soon here. Let's see. I think I'll go to bed. I haven't figured out what I'll do today. But tomorrow I intend to take it easy. Although I will be online tomorrow night, hopefully with my stylus. I'm hoping for. I don't necessarily want to spend my birthday cleaning my office, but I might spend my birthday cleaning my office. We'll have to see how that goes. So, right? It's like over there somewhere. I know it's over there. I just have to go find it. But I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm going to spend my birthday having donuts. That's my battle plan. It involves donuts. It's such a bright light. I can't hear anything. All right. All right, my friends. I am out of here. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I will. Where is George anyway? Like, this is his new thing now, is to nap at night. The weirdo. Napping and all. Such a strange cat. So, I will not, however, be giving donuts to George because he already eats plastic, so he doesn't need them. And I'm not going to go get the plastic donuts. That's a waste. So, all right. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I will see you tomorrow, as usual. And as always, remember to keep your eyes on the stars. Good night.